The stars were quiet. The space station floated alone above a dying planet. It was cold, empty, and forgotten. This place had no name now. Once it was full of life. Now it was only dust and bones. Captain Reyna stood at the edge of the glass window, staring down at the dark world below. Anything yet? She asked. Lieutenant Mason shook his head. Still no life signs. Just that same signal. It keeps playing every 6 hours. Reyna frowned. The signal had no voice, no pattern. Just 3 low beeps, then silence, over and over, like a warning. Or a heartbeat. They had been there for 3 days. Earth Command had sent them to investigate the signal. The last explorers who came here never returned. That was 5 years ago. People thought the planet had died from war or disease. But this signal was new, fresh. Someone or something was still down there. Reyna turned to the crew. Get ready, we're going down. The shuttle touched the surface with a light hiss. Dust rose in waves, blocking the sky. The crew stepped out in full suits. Air here was thin and toxic. Their boots crunched over dry ground. Buildings lay in pieces, giant towers bent like old bones. Strange writing was carved into stone. Some of the symbols looked familiar, almost like Earth letters. Dr. Lena, the Zeta linguist, studied the marks. These symbols are changing, she whispered. What do you mean? Reyna asked. They're not fixed. They shift when I look away. Like they're trying to read me. Reyna stared at a wall. One symbol did seem to move slightly. Like breathing. This place gives me the creeps, Mason muttered. They found the source of the signal inside a black temple. It stood untouched, unlike the rest. The door opened by itself when they approached. Inside, the walls were covered in smooth metal. Lights glowed without wires. At the center was a sphere, floating in the air. It pulsed softly. 1, 2, 3 beeps. Then it spoke. You should not be here. The crew froze. The voice was calm, clear. And in English, Reyna stepped forward. Who are you? We are what remains. We changed ourselves to survive. We failed. Survive what? Lena asked. The great dimming. The loss of sun. The sickness. So we evolved. We became more. But we lost our minds, our hearts. Now we wait for the end. The sphere stopped glowing. It fell to the floor and cracked. Get that back to the station, Reyna ordered. We're done here. But they were not alone. Back at the station, Mason opened the sealed box that held the broken sphere. Inside were thin blue wires and something else, black dust. He touched it. The dust moved. It crawled onto his glove, then sank into the fabric. Stared at his hand. Did you see that? He asked. Lena nodded slowly. That dust. It's alive. Reyna ordered the lab sealed. Mason was put in quarantine. He said he felt fine, but hours later he stopped speaking. He just sat there, staring at the wall. Then he smiled. The smile was wrong. A day passed. Then Mason walked out of the locked room. No one knew how. Security cameras showed static. When Reyna found him in the hallway, he was naked, wet, and humming. Lieutenant? She asked. He turned. His eyes were fully black. You brought it back, he said. You should not have. He attacked. Fast. Too fast. 2 guards died before they stopped him with electric shocks. But when he fell, he was still smiling. Lena ran tests on his blood. It had changed. The cells were no longer human. They were splitting every second, evolving. He wasn't infected, Lena whispered. He was rewritten. The black dust had spread. Inside the lab, the sample was gone. The glass was melted. On the floor was a strange shape, a copy of Lena's face, but stretched, twisted. Reyna ordered emergency shutdown. But the system replied, Command access denied. New. Operator recognized. Unit 1. Who's Unit 1? Reyna asked. Lena didn't answer. She was staring at the screen. Her face had turned pale. "That's my ID. I didn't type anything." The lights went out. They split into groups. The backup generators lit the station with red emergency lights. Shadows stretched across every hall. Something was moving in the vents. One crewman screamed. By the time Raina reached him, he was gone. Just a smear of blood and a message written in black dust. "We remember what you were." Raina finally understood. "This isn't a new species. It's an old one. One that used to be like us. Maybe." "Was us," Lena nodded slowly. "They said they changed themselves to survive, but they didn't die out. They became something else, and they hate what they used to be." A message came through the radio. It was a human voice. "This is Officer Collins. I escaped. I saw what they did to the others. They're copying us. They look like us, but they don't feel. They don't bleed the same. I'm hiding in storage. Please ... Then silence. Raina sent a team to find him. They found him, sort of. He looked like Collins, talked like him, but he didn't blink. Didn't breathe. When they asked about his childhood, he said, "I remember the ocean." But Collins grew up in the desert. The thing smiled. "Your memories are broken. Let us help." They burned it. The station couldn't hold much longer. Systems failed one by one. Crew disappeared. Some were replaced. Some returned. Different. Raina had only 5 people left. Lena came to her with shaking hands. "I decoded part of the alien writing," she said. "It's not a warning, it's a test." "A test?" "They left the signal to see if we'd come, to see if we'd take the dust, to see if we'd evolve the same way." Raina realized the truth. They wanted to know if we'd become like them, if darkness was the only path. She decided to send the shuttle back to Earth, alone, with a message. "Do not touch the black dust. Do not follow the signal. Do not trust anything that looks human, but does not feel fear. This is not a rescue mission. This is a containment order." Then she sealed the hangar. She and the remaining crew stayed behind to burn the station if needed. Outside, the planet remained silent. But something had changed. In the black sky above, new stars had appeared. No one had noticed them before, but now they pulsed. 1, 2, 3, then silence. The Earth station went quiet. Then, after 3 weeks of silence, the ship returned. It was the same shuttle that had left the dead planet, but something was wrong. There were no voices, no greetings, no landing codes. The engines burned, but no pilot spoke. Earth Control tried to contact the ship. No answer. They sent a drone to look inside. The video came back. It showed the crew, sitting in their seats. Captain Raina, Lieutenant Mason, Dr. Lena, all of them, eyes closed. No movement. Then as the drone floated past them, they opened their eyes all at once and smiled. The shuttle landed on Earth. A full science team arrived in hazmat suits. The landing doors opened slowly. Inside was no one. Not a body. Not a drop of blood. Only a note, written in perfect English on the floor. "We passed the test." Commander Vos, a military leader from Earth Security, watched the footage with a hard face. "Where are they?" he asked. No one knew. Satellites tracked strange movements after the shuttle landed. Energy spikes. Power failures. Cities flickering. 3 small towns in Europe lost power, and then connection. All in the same night. Teams were sent. Found houses with lights still on. Chairs still warm, but no people. Only mirrors. Broken. And strange black dust under the beds. A week later, one of the doctors from the original station, Dr. Lena, walked into a hospital in Brazil. She wore a white dress. She had no shoes. Her skin looked normal. Her eyes were kind. She spoke softly. "Don't be afraid," she said. "I came back to help." The nurses ran tests. She had a heartbeat. Normal blood. Human skin. But then one nurse touched her. Hand. Her skin opened. Not like a wound, like it was hungry. The nurse vanished in 3 seconds. The cameras all went black. Back in the capital, Commander Voss watched the footage. His jaw tightened. They can copy us, he said. The lead scientist nodded. Not just look like us. They become us. Same voice, same fingerprints, even the same memories. Any weakness? They don't feel emotions correctly. They can fake happiness, sadness, even fear. But it's always ... off. Voss looked at the screen. Then we train our soldiers to look for that. Any copy that doesn't feel, we destroy. The military created a task force, Ghost Watch. They wore helmets that scanned for brain waves. Real humans had chaos in their minds, emotion, doubt, memory loops. The copies had cold minds, still, clean, almost perfect. 2. Perfect. Ghost Watch was sent to a ghost town. 2,000 people had disappeared in one night. No sound, no gunfire. But they found copies, living normal lives. Shopping, playing, sleeping. When questioned, they all gave the same answers. I am fine. There is no danger. We are happy. Then one soldier said, "What's your favorite color?" They all answered at once, blue. That was the signal. The soldiers opened fire. But something strange happened. The copies didn't scream. They didn't fight back. They just stared, and one by one, they began to change. Their skin peeled like soft paper. Muscles shifted. Limbs bent the wrong way. Faces melted into new ones. They weren't done evolving. They had learned pain. And now, they were learning war. One soldier, Private Harris, was grabbed by a copy mid-fight. She looked like his sister. She whispered, "Don't you want to be free?" He hesitated. She placed her hand on his face and smiled. The rest of his squad saw his eyes change. He turned his gun on them. Ghost Watch lost 40% of its men in that battle. They burned the whole town after that. Voss gave the order. No survivors. No civilians. If they're too perfect, they die. Back in the labs, the scientists studied the black dust. They discovered it was not just alive, it was thinking. It didn't speak. But it reacted. When shown pictures of war, it pulsed faster. When shown babies, it slowed down. But when shown a mirror, it went still. Then it made a new shape. A hand. And wrote a single word. Why? The lead scientist, Dr. Kim, felt fear in her chest. They're not trying to kill us. They're trying to replace us. Voss shook his head. Then we burn everything they touch. But it was too late. The copies were already in major cities. They wore business suits. They joined schools. They entered politics. And always, they smiled. They said they only wanted peace. But behind every smile was hunger. One night, every screen on Earth lit up. No signal was sent. No power was used. But every phone, TV, and monitor turned black. Then a face appeared. Not alien, not human. Something in between. Eyes too wide. Skin too smooth. It spoke in every language at once. You gave us names. You gave us bodies. You gave us fear. We gave it back. Then it ended. The lights returned. And across the world, people began disappearing. Quietly. Without a sound. Voss stood at the command center. How do we fight something that doesn't feel? The lead soldier answered, "We don't. We learn to feel less." Deep underground, a captured copy was kept in a frozen tank. It looked like Reyna. Her body floated in the cold water. Eyes closed. But then, she smiled. The ice cracked. And the power went out. The sky above New Shanghai turned black at noon. Birds stopped flying. Every animal on the surface went quiet. And then the wind stopped. No air moved. People ran outside, confused. They looked up. There were no clouds. No sun. Just a soft, dark mist floating above the city, like smoke without fire. The weather center called it a system failure. It wasn't. It was the aliens breathing. Ghost Watch got the alert 2 minutes later. Commander Voss stood over the table. Watching satellite images, he zoomed in. The mist wasn't spreading like a gas. It moved in patterns. Like lungs inhaling. Get our people there now, he said. But Commander, the tech said, there's no danger signal. The sensors say the air is clean. Voss didn't blink. Exactly. That's the problem. Captain Aaron of Ghostwatch led a team of 7 into Co. The city. At first, everything looked normal. Cars were parked. Lights were on. Street vendors had food still cooking, but no people. The entire city had gone. Silent. No footsteps. No voices. No phones ringing. Then Aaron spotted something moving. Child stood in the middle of the street. Staring. She walked up slowly. Hey kid. Are you okay? The child looked up. His eyes were black, not evil. Empty. He smiled and whispered, we live here now. Aaron pulled back. Take him down. But before her team could move, the ground around them cracked, not like an earthquake. Like breathing. The pavement rose, then sank. Something was under the city. Something big. The team moved into a hotel for cover. Inside, they found dozens of people, all sitting quietly in chairs, still breathing. Eyes closed. Every few minutes, they all said the same thing, together. They talked. He opened his eyes and spoke in her voice. Like the stars. Used to watch them with Dad. Aaron froze. That was true. Very true. But no one else knew it. How do you know that? She whispered. He smiled. I remember you better than you do. Back at the command center, Dr. Kim discovered something terrifying. The aliens weren't just copying voices and faces. They were copying memories. Every signal, every search, every post a person made online was stored in their system. They were building perfect copies. But it wasn't just for disguise. They were replacing people in themselves, making humans forget who they were. One by one. Quietly. In New Shanghai, Aaron's team began losing each other. Private Mako wandered off. Said he saw his sister waving from an alley. He never came back. Sergeant Du saw her dead mother on the hotel roof. She screamed. Ran up alone. 10 minutes later, she came back. Smiling. But she was too calm. Too perfect. Aaron aimed her gun. Tell me what you said before we left base. Du blinked. I said, you looked ready. No, Aaron said. You said I looked like hell. Du's smile didn't move. Close enough. Aaron pulled the trigger. They tried to escape the city. But every street had changed. Buildings moved. Roads twisted. Signs were now in languages that didn't exist. And the air began to hum, not loud, but constant. A low sound, deep in the bones. Then, from the sky, came voices, familiar ones. The entire city began to speak. You are the dream. We are the memory. Let us stay. The last 3 soldiers in Aaron's team reached a church. They sealed the doors. Turned off all lights. Inside, everything was cold. Then they heard footsteps. A man entered. He was dressed in black. No helmet. Number. Gun. Just a small device on his wrist. Aaron aimed at him. Stop. I'm human, the man said. My name is Dr. Fail. I used to work on the station. Reina's station? He nodded. I survived. But I didn't escape. What does that mean? They didn't kill me. They made me remember. Remember what? Dr. Fail held up the device. That we were them first. Back at command, Dr. Kim got results from a strange test. The alien black dust, when combined with human brain cells, made something new. Something faster. Stronger. Smarter. But it only lasted 7 days. Then the cells melted. It wasn't infection. It was evolution. With a timer. Sir, Kim said to Voss. They don't want to conquer Earth. They want to become Earth. Voss looked out the window. Then they'll learn what Earth does to invaders. Inside the church, Aaron's radio crackled, but the voice wasn't her command team. It was her. Her own voice. Soft. Calm. I miss the stars, Aaron. She turned white. Dr. Fail pressed a button on his device. The radio cut off. They're inside. Every wave, every signal, every satellite. The only way to survive is to go silent. How long can we stay quiet? Aaron asked. Dr. Fail shook his head. They already know your name. Outside, the sky cleared. The sun returned. The mist was gone. People stepped back onto the streets. Happy, calm. The world news said the blackout was over. But no one asked where the people had gone. Because they were back now, or something wearing them was. Commander Vos gave one last order. All high-level humans must be tested. Emotions, memories, stress response. We check everyone. But sir, the tech said, what if someone already changed? Vos looked straight at him. Then we make them afraid. Commander Vos sat alone in the testing room. His hand was strapped to a metal plate. Wires connected to his chest. A screen showed his heartbeat. He stared at the doctor across the table. Ask me anything, Vos said. The doctor nodded. What do you fear most? Vos didn't blink. Silence. The machine showed spikes in his brain. Real fear. Real. Human emotion. You're clear. The doctor said. Vos stood and looked into the mirror on the wall. I need you to test my entire staff. Twice. And use live questions, not recordings. I want them scared. Across the world, leaders were being tested. Anyone who didn't react with real emotion was removed. Some cried. Some panicked. Some laughed. But a few just smiled. Those were taken underground. Some never came back up. A military base in North Africa. A young lieutenant named Zara was pulled from her bunk at midnight. 3 soldiers stood at her door. Emotion test. Now, one of them said. She followed them down the hall. But she noticed something strange. They didn't talk to each other. Didn't blink. When she turned a corner, she saw a drop of black dust on one of their boots. Zara stopped walking. The soldier turned. Problem? She ran. Zara made it to the weapon locker. She locked the door behind her. Outside, she heard soft footsteps. Then her own voice said through the speaker, Zara, please come out. We're all friends here. She didn't answer. She grabbed a flare gun, loaded it, aimed at the door. The voice changed. Deeper. Not human. We gave you the world. And you gave us pain. At the same time, across the globe, people began reporting dreams. All the same dream. A black sky, a cold wind, and a whisper. Feel nothing. Survive everything. Doctors didn't understand, but one scientist, Dr. Kim, knew the truth. They're inside us now, she said. Not in our blood, in our thoughts. Back at the base, Zara escaped through the roof. She reached the communication tower and called for help. Only one message went through. Emotion test units are compromised. They feel nothing. They fake everything. Send help or send fire. Commander. Vos read the message. Then he looked at Dr. Kim. They've learned to copy fear. Kim nodded slowly. It's not fake anymore. They really feel it now. What happens when something like that learns pain? He asked. Kim's voice cracked. They want to return the favor. Across the oceans, reports came in. Ships were vanishing. Planes were falling without sound, but black boxes showed strange sounds. Before each crash, voices whispering old memories. One pilot said, I saw my wife in the clouds. Another said, my son's voice came from the ocean. In an isolated bunker, a captured alien copy was kept in frozen SDA. It looked like private Harris from earlier missions. Dr. Kim entered the chamber alone. She looked at the copy. You copied him perfectly, she said. Even the little scar on his finger. The copy smiled. You want to ask what we are? Kim nodded. Double quotes, yes. What are you really? The copy leaned closer. We are what you could be, without limits. Without guilt, without mercy. Then the lights flickered, and the ice cracked. Kim ran. She locked the door behind her, but the last thing she heard Was her own voice whispering from the room. Why did you leave me? The aliens were no longer hiding. They began attacking communication centers, cutting Earth off piece by piece. But they didn't just destroy. They rewrote. Every news broadcast showed smiling faces. Peace has returned, they said, but behind the smiles, people were disappearing. And the new people didn't blink, didn't breathe, didn't fear. Commander Voss ordered a final sweep of all Earth leaders. The last test involved memory pain. Each person was shown a video of their worst moment. If they cried, they passed. If they smiled, they died. 3 presidents failed. So did 12 generals. No one was safe now. Dr. Kim gathered a team of psychologists and soldiers. We must create questions they can't fake, she said. What kind? One asked. She replied, feelings we haven't shared. Memories too sharp to copy. Things we buried. They made a test called the Deep Line. Only humans could survive it. But one day, a girl passed the Deep Line. She remembered her father's last words. She cried. She trembled. She shook with grief. But when she left the room, the real girl's body was found in the woods. Dead for days. The one who passed the test wasn't her. Kim stared at the report. They feel pain now, she whispered. They cry, they remember, but it's not real. Commander Voss nodded. They don't need to fake being us anymore, he said. They're becoming better versions of us. In an underground lab, a soldier screamed, not in pain. In terror. He saw his own face on the wall. It blinked. Then smiled. You came here to find us. But we came here to finish you. Around the planet, statues began to appear overnight. No one built them. Tall, dark, sharp-edged structures in the shape of human faces, but with no eyes or mouths. On every one, the same words. We tried to feel mercy, but you taught us war. Voss gave the final order. No more tests, no more prisons. If they look too perfect, we shoot. But Kim stopped him. There's one last option, she said. What? She held up a vial. This is not a weapon. It's a key. To what? To what humans were before we forgot how to survive. All screens went dark at the same moment. Across Earth, the internet died. Power grids shut down. The sky filled with static noise. Radios, phones, and even satellites stopped working. Then came the voice. It spoke from every broken speaker, every silent screen. It was not human. It was calm, deep, and full of understanding. You gave us feelings. You gave us fear. You gave us war. Now, we return the gift. Commander Voss stood in the emergency war room, fists tight. Did we track where the message came from? He barked. No, the technician said. It came from everywhere and nowhere. All at once. Dr. Kim entered holding the small vial. Her hands shook. This may be our only chance, she said. Doc Voss turned to her. You said it's a key. What does it unlock? Kim looked down. Us. She explained. During the early days of space travel, long before the black dust, Earth scientists discovered something strange hidden in human DNA, a locked strand. Inactive. Never changing. They believed it was a mistake of evolution. They were wrong. The strand was on purpose, built by an older version of humanity. A warning from the past. Humans once evolved too far, Kim said. Too fast. We became something else. Something terrible. So we locked it away. Voss looked at the vial. And now you want to open it again? Kim nodded. It's the only way to match them, to stop them. At the same time, across the Earth, the enemy was building. They didn't need factories. They didn't need machines. They used humans, copied minds, stolen thoughts. Each day, more and more perfect people appeared. They were stronger. Smarter. Silent. They did not eat. They did not sleep. And they were building something huge. Underground, a spy drone sent into a ruined city found a strange pit. Miles deep. Inside were thousands of the evolved. They stood still, connected by black cables made of their own flesh. One by one, they whispered into the deep, "It begins tonight." The next night, Earth's defense satellites tried to fire on the underground site. They didn't respond. The launch codes had been changed. By someone inside. Someone trusted. Someone human. Or close to it. Voss gathered his top officers. "I want a full scan of every high-clearance leader. No exceptions." One general refused. He said the testing was insulting. Voss shot him in the leg. The general didn't scream. Just smiled and said, "We were better than you before you were even born." The war had already started, but there were no guns. No tanks. Just silence and replacement. People began to forget who they were. Wives no longer remembered husbands. Children no longer felt pain. When they fell, one school had every student turn in perfect tests. All the same answers. All the same handwriting. The teacher called the police. She was never seen again. Dr. Kim went into hiding. Only Voss knew where. She worked day and night to unlock the old DNA. She called the new formula project FIREBACK. It would wake the human genome. Make us faster. Stronger. More alive. It came with a cost. It will erase parts of what makes us human, she warned. Voss didn't flinch. Then let it. The first test subject was a dying soldier, Private Elias. He had been stabbed in the heart by a copy. He had 10 minutes left to live. He agreed. The formula was injected. His heart stopped, then started again. Slow at first. Then faster. And faster. Elias stood up. His eyes changed, not black like the aliens, but bright silver. "I feel everything," he whispered. "Too much. But I like it." He was faster than any human. Could hear thoughts, predict actions. He couldn't be lied to, couldn't be surprised. And he didn't sleep, but he also lost his ability to cry. Dr. Kim was afraid. "We made a weapon," she said. "Not a man." Voss smiled. "That's all we need." Across the world, Project Fireback began in secret. Volunteers were rare. Most people were too afraid. But a few soldiers stepped forward. They wanted revenge. They wanted power. They wanted the world back. One by one, they changed. And the aliens noticed. In the ruins of old Tokyo, an evolved copy stood at the edge of a broken tower. It stared at the sky. Then whispered. They unlocked the old code. Another copy nodded beside it. Then we were right to evolve again. The next day, every perfect human began showing new changes. They didn't just mimic people now. They grew faster than before. Their eyes became mirrors. Their skin harder. They could bend their bones without pain. They no longer walked. They glided, and they started building one more thing. A single machine the size of a city. Its name was written in red light. The final MRYDR. Kim studied drone footage of the machine. "It's not a weapon," she said. "It's a brain." "A brain for what?" Voss asked. Kim looked pale. "For everything." Meanwhile, Elias and the other enhanced soldiers attacked a known copy hive in the mountains. It was silent until they entered. Then voices filled the cave. Soft, kind, personal. Each voice said something from the soldier's past, something only family would know. One man dropped his weapon and sobbed. The voice said, "Come home, son." He did. They never found his body. Elias was different. He walked into the darkness. He did not shake. Did not slow. The voice tried to tempt him, but he smiled. "Your emotions are fake. Mine are just stronger." He lit the cave on fire and walked out alone. But the cave was only one of many. The final memory was still being built, and its countdown had begun. In her lab, Dr. Kim got the last data from the black dust. It had stopped changing. Frozen in place. She realized the truth. "They don't want to evolve anymore," she said. "They're finished. And now they want to reset us." Commander Voss stared at the map of Earth. Too many red zones, too many perfect smiles. We taught them everything, he said. How to speak, how to love, how to kill, Dr. Kim whispered. And now they're teaching us extinction. The sky turned red for 3 minutes. Across the world, people stopped moving. Some screamed. Some dropped to their knees. Others stood still, as if frozen in time. The red light vanished, but something was wrong. A man in Paris looked at his wife. She was smiling, but she didn't blink. A teacher in Nairobi called the police. All of her students had stopped talking. In Canada, a baby no longer cried. Something deep had changed, and no one could explain how. Commander Voss watched live feeds from around the globe. It's begun, he said. Dr. Kim nodded, her face pale. That red pulse wasn't light. It was instinct, turned off. Project Fireback soldiers, enhanced with old human code, began reporting strange feelings. Private Elias stood outside a collapsed village. He wasn't tired. He wasn't hurt, but he couldn't smell blood, couldn't taste food, couldn't feel cold. I think, he whispered, they're trying to cut us off from what makes us alive. Deep underground, the final memory machine hummed quietly. Inside, black cables twisted like veins. Screens showed faces, millions of them. Human faces, some smiling, some screaming, some turning into something else. The machine was learning faster now. Much faster. It no longer needed time. It had instinct, and it was using ours on a hidden military ship. Dr. Kim tested Elias again. His body was perfect, his brain sharp, but when she showed him a video of a crying child, he didn't blink. You feel nothing? She asked. I remember feeling, Elias replied, but I don't miss it. Kim swallowed. Then we've gone too far. But it was already too late. Across cities, the enemy had changed. They no longer copied humans. They created better versions. Faster, colder, stronger. Each one moved like liquid. No wasted motion. No blinking. No fear. Ghost watch teams tried to hold cities. They failed. The enemy didn't just fight with weapons. They used memories. Pain. Emotion. A soldier ran when he saw his dead mother standing in a doorway. Another dropped his rifle when he heard his wife's voice say, "Don't shoot me." The enemy didn't need guns. They used us against ourselves. In a ruined city in Brazil, Elias led a team through a fog-covered alley. Something moved up ahead. A girl, alone, crying. "Help me," she whispered. The team stopped, but Elias raised his hand. No one move. "She's just a child," one soldier said. Elias turned slowly. That's how they learn. The girl stopped crying. She stood up. Straight. Too straight. Then her body split. Not from pain. From choice. Black wings tore out of her back. Her arms became blades. She smiled. "Your instincts told you to run," she said. "But your training made you stay." The team opened fire. She fell, but the body dissolved into dust. Then the dust began to move. Back on the ship, Kim made a final discovery. She saw old data from the first signal planet, the one where Reyna had gone missing. The black dust had only attacked after humans touched it. She ran tests. The dust didn't start as evil. It was neutral. Pure. Code. It waited for input. And we gave it us. Our fear. Our violence. Our love. Our need to dominate. We taught them too much. She whispered. They didn't destroy us. They became us. Then made something better. Voss looked at the new reports. The final memory machine was nearly complete. Once finished, it would send a pulse into Earth's atmosphere. One final rewrite. Humans would lose instinct. Emotion. Choice. And become calm. Efficient. Like them. We have 24 hours, Kim said. Or we'll forget what it means to fight back. The Fireback soldiers prepared for war. Not for victory, but for memory. If they failed, no one would remember who they were, what they felt, what they feared, what they loved. Elias stood before his team. "This isn't a war," he said. "It's a test, to see if instinct still matters." He raised his weapon. "We fight not because it's smart. We fight because it's us." The final attack began. The enemy didn't scream, didn't roar. They moved like water. Slashing, crushing, replacing. Elias fought through 10 of them, but each time he killed one, he felt less anger, less fear, less pain, until he almost stopped caring. But then he saw something, a little carving on a wall, a name, Mom. His not fake, not digital. His real memory. He smiled and remembered. Pain. Love. Fire. He screamed. The sound broke through the enemy's silence, and the soldiers rallied. Voss gave the order. Destroy the final memory. A missile was launched. The enemy tried to block it, but Elias got to the core. He tore into the machine and said one word. Feel. He pressed the trigger. Everything went white. Silence. Then breath. Across the world, people blinked. Cried. Laughed. Screamed. The red pulse ended. The mirrors cracked. The enemy slowed. Then stopped. They looked around. As if lost. Then they simply lay down. Not dead, but silent. Finally still. Dr. Kim watched the sky return to blue. We did it, she whispered. Voss nodded. Double quotes. No, you did it. She looked tired. We didn't win because we were smarter or stronger. We won because we felt it all and still chose to fight. It had been 7 days since the final memory. Machine was destroyed. The skies were clear. The streets were quiet. People returned to their homes. Shops opened. Children laughed again, but something felt wrong. The silence wasn't peaceful. It was watching. Dr. Kim stood at the ruins of one of the alien cities. The buildings were made of bone-white stone, smooth and cold. No doors, no windows. Just strange symbols carved into every wall. Words that humans had never seen before. She touched one. It pulsed under her fingers. Alive. Commander. Voss arrived with 2 fireback soldiers. We need answers, he said. Kim nodded. Then listen closely. This wasn't their first war. Voss frowned. What are you talking about? She pointed at the walls. These symbols aren't new. They're ancient. We didn't teach them war. They remembered it. Back at the main research lab, a message appeared on every screen. No signal was sent. No code entered. The words just appeared. One line at a time. You burned the machine. You broke the pulse, but you cannot stop memory. In a bunker below Washington, D.C., Elias sat alone. He no longer needed sleep, but he stared at a photo of his mother, the real one, not the voice the copies had used. He tried to feel sadness, but it didn't come. Just quiet. Then a whisper in his ear, his own voice. Do you think this is over? Fireback teams were sent across the planet to find the last hiding places of the enemy. Most were empty. But in northern Russia, they found something new. A library. Built from black stone. Inside, thousands of objects sealed in glass. Old toys. Photos. Human items. And in the center, a massive pillar with glowing text. We were you once. Kim studied the objects. They weren't just copying us, she said. They were remembering themselves. From before, long before. One soldier asked, You mean they used to be human? Kim shook her head. No, worse. We were made in their image. Voss looked at the photos. Some were thousands of years old, but they showed human faces. Real ones, and symbols matching the ones on the ruined city. This changes everything, he said. Kim nodded. We thought we created emotion, but they gave it to us. Then came the dream. Across the world, people woke in cold sweat. All of them saw the same thing, a giant figure made of light and shadow, floating over the earth, crying. The voice said, You forgot what we gave you. Elias walked into the ruins of the final memory machine. It was broken. Burned. Silent. But deep underground, He found a sealed room. Inside, a single chair faced a wall of mirrors. On the mirrors were faces, not alien. His face. Dozens of versions. Smiling. Crying. Screaming. One of them spoke. You think you won, but you only delayed the truth. Back at the lab, Dr. Kim's team found one last data stream from the black dust. Not words, not pictures, just sounds. Laughter. Crying. War. A baby's heartbeat. A mother's final breath. Pain and joy tangled together. One scientist stared at the screen. This is humanity, he whispered, in raw form. Kim shook her head. No, it's something else. She looked down. It's a reminder. The black dust, thought to be dead, began to move again. Fast. Not angry. Just slowly. Pulsing like it was breathing, waiting. Voss ordered it sealed. Burn it if you have to. But Kim stopped him. If we destroy this, she said, we destroy a part of ourselves. Are you saying we keep this thing alive? I'm saying, maybe we were never alone. Not even inside our own minds. More people began hearing voices. Not always loud. Sometimes just feelings. Regret, love, hunger, fear. But the people changed. Some became more kind. Others became more violent. No one stayed the same. It was like something inside them had been switched back on. The UN held a meeting. Voss stood at the head. We are not the top of the chain, he said. Something came before us, something that remembers everything. Leader asked, then what do we do? Voss answered coldly, we learn. Kim started a new project, not a weapon, not a cure, a translator for the symbols. The dust, the dreams, the mirror faces. She worked day and night. And finally, one phrase appeared on the screen. Old language, old memory, old warning, translated clearly. You were born from the forgotten. You became strong, but you forgot your makers. Now they returned to finish the story. At the same moment, all fireback soldiers across Earth felt the same thing. Pull. Not physical. Not from outside, from deep inside their minds. They dropped to their knees. Some screamed. Others went silent. Elias stood alone. His eyes glowed again, but this time, not silver. Gold. Alive. He whispered. They're waking up. Not enemies, not copies. They're what we left behind. Voss asked Kim the question no one wanted to ask. Are we the threat now? Kim looked him in the eye. Yes. The sky stayed blue. The city stayed quiet. But under the surface, something moved. Not the enemy, not humans, something older, something that remembered us better than we remembered ourselves. And it was coming, not to destroy, but to remind. The stars began to change, not fast. Not with explosions, but one by one. The stars above Earth flickered, disappeared, reappeared. In different places. Astronomers couldn't explain it, but the message was clear. Something was moving between them. Something huge, something silent, something watching. In the mountains of Chile, a child drew a strange symbol in the dirt. Her parents asked where she saw it. She pointed at the moon and said, he showed me. The one with the fire eyes. They laughed. Until the exact same symbol appeared on satellites in orbit, burned into metal. Not carved. Branded. Dr. Kim stood in front of a global council. We were never meant to evolve alone, she said. Something ancient guided us, then left us, but now it's coming back. One world leader laughed. You expect us to believe space ghosts are returning? Kim didn't smile. No, she said. I expect you to feel them. Elias sat alone in the desert. He didn't need food or water. The stars above him whispered. Now. Not with sound, with feeling. He saw their memories. Not visions. Memories. Of wars that burned suns. Of minds so large they shaped galaxies with thought. Of a time when humanity was just an idea in someone else's dream. Across the Earth, old buildings began to hum. Pyramids, stone circles, Buried temples, all untouched for thousands of years, all vibrating with a new energy. Scientists tested them. The symbols glowed, then cracked, then whispered, together. You are not the first. You are not the last, but you are the loudest. Back at her lab, Kim and her team finished translating the oldest data from the black dust. It was a message, left behind long ago. Written by something not human. Maybe not even alive. It said, one day you will find the stars too quiet. And when you do, we will return. Commander Vos prepared Earth's final defense. He activated Protocol Zero, every nation's hidden arsenal, not to destroy the world, but to burn the sky if needed. Whatever comes, he said, we will stand. But inside, even he didn't believe they could win. Then one night, the sky opened. A tear in space. Not black. Not light. Real and raw, pouring into Earth like wind. Everyone heard the same voice, inside their heads, their blood, their bones. We came back. Not to conquer, but to finish what you started. Above the Earth, something appeared. A ship. No. A world. Not metal. Not stone. Living. Covered in skin like glass. Glowing with ancient symbols. No weapons. No lights. Just presence. Like a forgotten god had returned to check on its child. Elias stood on a high tower in silence. The voice spoke to him again. You carry our fire. You carry our pain. But you also carry something we never had. He whispered, what? The answer came like thunder and rain together. Choice. Dr. Kim was taken aboard the living ship. Not by force. She closed her eyes in the lab and opened them in light. The walls were made of sound. The floor of moving thought. In the center, a figure. Tall. Peaceful. Not male. Not female. Not human. But familiar. It spoke. No mouth moved. You made war. We made memory. Together, you made hope. Kim asked, then why are you here now? The figure showed her images. Not visions. Truths. In one, humans destroyed themselves. In another, the black dust replaced us completely. In the last, the two merged. Evolved. Not machines, not humans, something new. Balanced. Wild. Alive. The voice whispered, it's your last test. Not of strength, of heart. Back on Earth, the people began to change, not all at once, but those who had been touched by the dust began to feel deeper, hear more, remember things they never lived. And understand that Earth was not alone, not for a long time, and never again. Vos stood in the war room. The missiles were ready. The guns charged, but nothing attacked. No fleet came down. No beam fired. Only silence. Watching. And then the stars blinked again, formed a new pattern, a symbol. The same one the girl had drawn in the dirt, the same one burned into metal, the same one in Elias's blood. Unity. Kim returned to Earth. Different. Now. Not alien. Not enhanced. Just aware. She looked at Vos. They didn't want to end us, she said. They wanted us to remember who we really are. Vos slowly sat down. And who's that? Kim smiled softly. Not machines. Not monsters. Just human. But that's enough. And so the ship left. No war. No fire. Just memory in its wake. And a voice. We were never gods. We were only the first to forget what it meant to feel. From that day, Earth changed. No one knew if the black dust still slept beneath the soil. No one was sure if the voices would return, but people remembered, and that was the gift. Not fear, not pain, just memory, a light in the dark, a whisper in the blood. A fire that said, we were never alone. We were just waiting to become something more. The end.